Hey there, this is Emma Ginder with my Module 12 case study. So to start off, what's going on in the case study? So I'm the principal, Mr. Sample, and I am the principal of St. Regis School, located in a very small town. The closest city is 25 miles away. The school does rely heavily on fundraiser money by the PTA to buy computer programs for students. And this year they were able to purchase a computer software that can be used on computers in the computer lab. Mrs. Lynn, who is the librarian and also the media specialist, was approached by several teachers in the building saying how they loved this software program and they were wondering if she could make copies of it so that they could use it on their devices in their classroom. Mrs. Lynn thought this was a great idea and did it, no problem. Once Mrs. Lynn gave her copy to Mrs. Brandon, who's a third grade teacher and is new to our building this year, Mrs. Brandon was reluctant about accepting it. She questioned copyright laws that it was violating. And when she mentioned that to Mrs. Lynn said she wasn't concerned about the copyright laws. Mrs. Brandon then went to myself, Mr. Sample, at the end of the day, expressing her concerns, and so I agreed that copyright was being violated here, and so I was going to talk to Mrs. Lynn about what is going on. When I went and spoke with Mrs. Lynn, she thought that she was doing a phenomenal thing. She was saving money. She was so proud of herself, and the PTA president even helped her making these copies, so all was good. So looking at the legal and ethical issues here, very bluntly, legally, she is breaking copyright laws. She is illegally copying software that was bought for just one computer or that one classroom and is now handing it out to however many teachers in our building. Because of this, she could face legal action. Not only Mrs. Lynn herself, but the school or the district could face those lawsuits. And ethically, Mrs. Lynn and the other teachers, they're aware of the copyright issues, but they are still ignoring it and using those copies. And Mrs. Brandon feels really uncomfortable. She doesn't want to cause issues with her colleagues, especially because she's new to the building. And so she was hoping, to get it resolved, but not cause these issues among her staff. But no breach of contract was done. So, quick summary, copyrighted software bought for computer lab use is being illegally copied and distributed to multiple staff members at St. Regis School. So if we break down and look at the facts, so the people involved in this situation is myself, Mr. Sample, Mrs. Lynn, the librarian and media specialist, Mrs. Brandon, who is the new third grade teacher, Mrs. Williams, she's also a third grade teacher who easily took this information or copyrighted disc and just used it with no problem. I will get over to the program here in a bit, but there are only 2 grade level teachers for each grade. So Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Brandon are the only 2 third grade teachers. One is really against it and one is totally fine with it. And then Mrs. Evans, who is the PTA president who helped Mrs. Lynn make these copies of the software. So it's taking place at St. Regis School. We have 420 students in our K through 8 grade levels. We are in a rural area, 25 miles from the closest city. So looking at our program, again, we house kids K through 8th grade. There are only 2 teachers per grade level. We do have a special education program, but there are only 2 SPED teachers total. So one covers grades K through 4, and the other teacher covers grades 5 through 8. So, reviewing and prioritizing. So this situation may cause conflict within our school building. We may have staff being upset with Mrs. Brandon or annoyed that she came to me, approached me about the problem. They could feel that she was overstepping, and with her being new, that could definitely cause some issues among them. Mrs. Lynn could feel that she's being attacked or targeted by Mrs. Brandon as well as myself because I did have to approach her about the topic. But on the other hand, we do need to think about the legal action that we could face, not only the school or the district, but Mrs. Lynn herself, and make her aware that I'm coming to her not as an attack on her, but to discuss options and how we can better this situation. Before I make any decisions, though, I do need to learn more about what exactly is going on. So I need to speak with Mrs. Lynn, Mrs. Evans, and other staff members in our building. I also think it would be a good idea to talk to our district attorney about the legal aspect of it all. By talking to these individuals, I'll get a better idea of exactly what took place and also what consequences we may be facing if we don't handle the situation. So the three options I feel that I have. The first one, I could do nothing and ignore the situation. I could allow Mrs. Lynn to continue doing what she's doing, the staff to continue using them. The second option, I could immediately contact our district administration and have all illegal copies destroyed. Or the third option, I could discuss the price of the software with Mrs. Lynn and legally buy multiple copies or licenses of the software. I could even start brainstorming a PD opportunity on this particular topic of copyright. So the first option, doing nothing. After my discussion with Mrs. Lynn, I would allow her to continue making the copies and distributing them to the teachers in our building. The teachers who have them, they can continue using them. I wouldn't follow up with Mrs. Brandon. I would just let it be, and district administration would not be notified of the situation. So the pros to this option is the staff is able to use a valuable educational program while saving our school money. The cons is that I am aware of copyright taking place, yet I'm ignoring it, so now I could be facing lawsuit issues. And I'm also ignoring a staff member's concerns and risk of her coming forward and thinking, well, if you're not going to say anything, then I'll go ahead and go to the district admin if I need to and make them aware of the situation. The second option is collecting all illegal copies of the computer software program from Mrs. Lynn and the teachers who have them, disposing them, getting rid of them immediately. I would be notifying our superintendent of the situation and request a meeting with both our superintendent and our district attorney. The pros of this is I'm getting rid of the illegal copyrighted software, and so I'm saving our building and Mrs. Lynn from a lawsuit. The cons, though, is that the staff, they're not properly trained on the issue. I just kind of immediately took control of it and got rid of it, but never addressed it. And now I've brought in district admin and put ourselves under a microscope. I personally, in my school building 2 years ago, we had quite the situation come up where district admin was involved and was heavily watching our building and visiting our building for the semester. And we quickly learned that you just would rather not be that school in the district who's kind of always talked about at the district level and having to be kept a close eye on. So. And then option 3, I could sit down with Mrs. Lynn and discuss the cost of buying multiple licenses of the software so that we can continue using it and teachers can use it in their classroom, but using it legally this time. I could brainstorm fundraising ideas with the PTA and staff that'll help us afford the additional licenses. And then I could also start thinking of a PD opportunity for the staff to educate them on the copyright laws to promote success, specifically within the school setting. So the pros of this is I'm still able to use the software. We're finding the money and the resources for it. We will come up with more fundraising ideas, which is always helpful, especially in a small school. And the staff are going to be properly trained on copyright laws. The cons is we may not have all staff on board with this, and then we could have a divide between those who are on board and those who are not. So the best option I feel is option number 3. All staff and PTA members are made aware of the plans moving forward. I've made it clear that I'm going to help with the fundraising ideas and help with that fundraiser to raise the money we need for the software. And rather than disciplining Mrs. Lynn, I'm providing a learning opportunity for her to apply knowledge and skills to improve her teaching. So, implementing this option. I'm going to start by having a private chat with Mrs. Lynn about our upcoming plans and discuss with her the price and the cost of having multiple licenses for the software. I'm going to ask Mrs. Lynn to collect the copy disk she has made, but to please keep things professional when discussing why with the staff. When I'm talking with Mrs. Lynn, I'll let her know how important it is to follow copyright laws and make it clear that if any copies are kept, administration will need to be notified and involved this time. I will then meet with the PTA and tell them how much money we need to collect for these multiple licenses, and then I'll brainstorm with them a fundraising plan. Again, I want to be a part of it. I want them to know that I'm there to help them, not put more work on their plate. So I will fundraise, brainstorm with them. And then I will begin creating a professional development presentation for an upcoming staff meeting regarding copyright laws and copyright within schools. I will also use this meeting to invite the PTA president and vice president to the meeting for them to introduce the upcoming fundraiser we've come up with the staff. And then my plan B is I'll just have to get district administration involved. If for some reason this plan does not work, I have it going more in a poor direction than a positive that I plan. Thank you so much. I've loved learning from all of you in the past 4 weeks, and I look forward to seeing your case study ideas. Thanks, guys.